Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be going over my sketchbook. Now this sketchbook I've been working on for about a year now. Maybe a little bit less than that, I'm not for sure, but it's within a year, I know that. So I've had previous sketchbooks before this, but this is pretty much the one I've been using recently. So starting off, I've got some boxes, drawing them in, attempting to draw them in perspective. This isn't really drawn to perspective. The way how I drew this, by the way, is so normally you're supposed to draw like, if I flip it the other way, but I like drawing it landscape style. So yeah, I just drew more cylinders. I try to get ellipses down. I did this with a pen, a fountain pen. This one. So it has a little nib on it. Let's see here. I did this a lot though. So trying to just kind of adapt like cylinders into bigger cylinders and everything like that. I attempted to draw some in perspective. Not too confident at all. Just kind of like doodling at this point. I drew my microphone here. I looked up some stuff from, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Mark Burnett or Mark Burrett on YouTube. So I tried to do some of the stuff from there. Here I was trying to make a Unity game, I guess, and I got a tutorial for that. Did not go much past this stage, but I 3D landscaped the entire like level, so that was kind of cool. It's supposed to be like a level where you roll a ball around and you're supposed to like an obstacle course, essentially. Now, I like drawing creatures a lot, and this is probably my favorite design, was this one right here. This is Scorch from Pokemon. It's supposed to be kind of similar to Scorch, but it's kind of different. I drew them little segments, trying to get them from all angles. I guess I got bored or sidetracked or both and started drawing some bat wings, dragon wings, stuff like that. So this was more so what I was going to in the final design. It didn't get much farther than this, I'm not gonna lie. This is it. So yeah, I also did a lot of stuff in 3D modeling this year, so that was also really fun. Now, I also have my D&D campaign with my friends. And my first D&D, so now that I think of it, this had to be probably about midway through this year, because this is when this D&D character was made. Because we had a campaign, and my first D&D character died, so now I had to make a new character, and this is my new character. His name's Mopo. Moponfu is the full name. And let's see. I was gonna do like a full and then like a side and then a back view. That didn't happen, but I did this and that was pretty good. So I took this, put it in a Photoshop and like rendered it out. I like doing that. I like drawing everything on my pieces of paper first, because that's just how my brain works. I drew some mushrooms. Mushroom people. That's cool. I like this one a lot because it just looks simple. Looks like a video game character. A lot of them go kind of wacky. This one was just out there. Yeah, drew this one. This one was kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. I like drawing that one. This one was just a goofy idea I had. And the ones that I don't like, I don't color in, by the way. So like this one, I didn't like it that much. I didn't even bother in like tracing it in. But at this point, I'm pretty much only using this. Later, I use a different brush. Now, these two are from books that I just followed along with. This one I drew by myself. This is from a book. That was a failed attempt at something out of my head, but it didn't work out. So it just is what it is, you know? This I made into a 3D model, and I think I can grab it real quick. One sec. I didn't expect to grab this, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I actually made this into a 3D model. So 3D printed it and everything. And I made it from this design. And from the basic shapes, I knew this is what I had to make in Blender. So I have a bunch of dog hair on it. But yeah, that's it. Pretty neat. I was pretty proud of this. Bought a 3D printer, pretty much. And this was the first thing I printed off of it. Then I did a little horse tutorial. it's not that great. Now, this dog's cool. I like that dog. My friend, we're doing the D&D and we're going through like the 9 levels of hell. So I did like a DJ devil, which is kind of funny. And that's where the dog comes from. This dude I just kind of thought of. Reminded me like a Final Fantasy little dude. So that was kind of cool. I guess I attempted to draw a gun there. And I don't know what that is. It is what, it's cool, I guess. Now we're going into, okay, I know what this is. So I was trying to make a TikTok like series of like when you spin the wheel, you make a character through the wheel. Well, I was gonna make it to where every time they like I spun the wheel for someone, I like drew their character. This was the first attempt. I mean, it's like not like horrible, but it's not anywhere nearly that good. It's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. And this dude I actually rendered out. I don't know why I decided to do that, but I did render him out. Because normally, like I said, I draw him in black, but I did render this dude out for some reason, but I didn't actually make him in black here, I guess. I don't know. I did not like this one was rendered out, by the way. This was cool. I like drawing this dude. This was probably the first, like, thing that I was like, you know, I'm not, like, horrible at art at this point in my head, you know. It's still not great, but I did like the design a lot. I also drew this little thing right here to just do, like, a little panel, like, if you're doing like a quick sketch or something just to get kind of the panel in for something, this is what a lot of times it look like, and that was what I was trying to attempt. And up here was supposed to be the lizard. This guy was supposed to be like right here, and I guess these were like a wizard guy and a girl with a backpack. I drew some more. I looked in some of my books, and one of the challenges was to draw the frog skeleton, and then on top of that, draw their skin or like a design over it. So I drew like a steampunk frog. I don't know what this is, but it was pretty neat. This was supposed to be like a bear skin of a frog, like a mat of a bear. And as you can see, I put like the skeleton structure in it and stuff like that. This one was supposed to be more like Egyptian. Pretty much that's supposed to be Egyptian. Everything else is just something I thought it was neat. I got angry at this because this was the next challenge in the book. And really looking at it, it's not the worst. It's just not fleshed out enough to be considered good. But I had like the right idea starting out. You're supposed to make like head mounts of different creatures. Yeah, I mean, they're not super great. Alright, this is a bunch of writing. So I'm making a game, and this is a bunch of writing for it. I'm not going to go over this. It's a lot of words. And a lot of my ideas going on paper. So this is supposed to be like the character room where they all kind of start out. And I made this room in 3D. I don't have it printed out, but I made this entire room in 3D. Which is pretty neat. It's like a D&D room, essentially. I guess I drew some dudes back here. I'm not gonna... It's like a little skeleton guy. It's nothing crazy. I guess I just started doodling when I was writing, because, I mean, why not? So this, I guess I just got bored or saw like a thing online and just got inspired and I started just drawing stuff again. As you can tell, I'm like kind of sporadic with this, but recently I've been pretty good, and I'll show you, which will be the thumbnail of this video, what I've been doing recently and why I'm making this video. Okay, this was kind of neat. I like that. Now I'm going to get to this because this is actually kind of cool. So this is me mapping out like a D&D like tile for a game, essentially. And I'll actually pull this back real quick. So this is the first area for the game, essentially, that you would spawn in. No, then that's not it. Let's see. It's probably on the page before this. Yeah, there it is. So it's right here. This is the first area in the game. I mapped this entire thing out in Blender. So you have the treasure chest. I don't have a video of it right now, but it's pretty neat. I like doing that a lot. That was really fun. And I plan on doing that for all these. I don't think I'm going to get to it all. I'm going to be totally truthful to myself on that. That's a lot of work. Not that I'm not afraid to do it. It's just that mapping that out for all that will take me. My goal is to get prototype out by December. This is getting sidetracked, but that's not going to happen if I do this. So basically, this is the next room. This is going to be like an area you walk into where you talk to some NPCs. This is another area where you walk into to like kind of talk to the like commander guy, the big military dude that's going to give you the quest in the game. Over here is a room where you're going to go into to basically fight off some like monsters, and then here's the boss, and that's pretty much my entire prototype. It's as simple as that. As simple as that, as in it's a lot of words, a lot of time, and a lot of art. It's not simple. All right, this is me actually mapping out the quest lines. It is that difficult. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, this is probably the first time I did something that was actually kind of cool. Okay. So this is a streamer, her name's Lawity. She's pretty cool. I've been in her stream for a while. Yeah, this was neat. I like doing that. I learned like this very small shading tactic, and I think this turned out pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie. This one's pretty neat. These other ones, whatever, but these two are pretty cool. I like those two. Am I going backwards or forwards? I'm going backwards. All right. Now I got frustrated here, because I just couldn't draw anything again, I guess. And every time I just can't draw something, I normally just get frustrated. And I'm looking back on it, and it's like, this isn't even like horrible. Like, it's kind of going for the idea I was going for. I don't know what this is, but the whole concept was dragging something into like the slot machine. So I accomplished that, and now looking back on it, but I don't really, it's just not fleshed out, so you can't really, I just got frustrated and stopped. I got some anime eyes here. I looked into Pokemon stuff, some Final Fantasy stuff. Really bad dragon head. Jeez. All right, now we're actually cooking with the sauce now. Okay. Earlier this month, I decided I got all these books I finally have. I got big boy money now, so I can go buy the stuff I want, you know. I bought a bunch of books, a bunch of art books, a bunch of game art books. Okay. And one of them, I have like a whole Final Fantasy series of like art books. And I wanted to like do this, and I never have in the past like 6 months after acquiring this stuff. And this was the first time I did it. So this boss, I guess this is his name, Ultimisia, Final Fantasy VIII. I'm glad I wrote that down because I literally did not know. I saw it look cool, and I was just like, I'm drawing this. First thing I flipped to, I was like, I'm drawing it. So I drew it. It's all with this brush, and this brush, you can just hold it down, and it kind of makes a texture that way, or you can like hold it slightly, and it inks it down pretty nice, or you can kind of move it out like that, and slither it out like that, make it smaller. It's pretty cool. I like the brush a lot. It's how they're technically supposed to do art with like hand pressure and stuff like that, so it's kind of cool. So yeah, this is the boss. 11.5. Probably the first thing I drew that I wasn't like, holy smokes, man, that's horrible. You know what I'm saying? And then I drew these. And at this point, I was like, you know, I'm probably not as bad as I think I am. You know, this is kind of the turning point in my head where I was like, yeah, you know, I'm not like great, but this isn't bad. This was the first one I drew. The eyes are all jacked up. This eye is way too big. Frankly, it's crooked. This eye's small-ish. I think this eye's actually not horrible. It's just this eye's bad. I drew the hair semi-decent, and I looked at my Final Fantasy books. I looked online for a tutorial on this, just to remember how the proportions work and everything. And even at that, the eye's tilted down, and like the eye over here is fine. And then I started to get better, and then I made this one. This one's not like bad with the eyes and everything. This one's actually pretty good. But this one, the eyes are still an issue, but everything else is like fine. And then I drew this chick. I don't know her name. I didn't write it down, but this one was pretty solid. I won't lie. I like drawing that one a lot. And now I got a little bit more confident, and I was like, all right, let's start drawing some people, you know? Let's do the thing I hate the most, because every time I draw people, it makes me upset, and I stop drawing again. So I drew a dude. It's not 100% accurate by proportions, but it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. And the eyes are still wobbly, but I'm going to fix that in the future. I'll go ahead and draw some heads. No big deal on that. This is a little enemy from there, nothing crazy there. Now this is a diorama from Final Fantasy. I think it's 8. I think it's 8 again. I'm pretty sure. Or no, it's 11. It's 8 or 11. I'm gonna say 11 because I think this was afterwards. So this has what, 6 people. So at this point, I'm actually not even that skilled at all. I haven't done any gesture drawing in probably over a year. I'm just kind of going off of what I remember from school / the internet. And I'm not even going to lie, like, this doesn't even look horrible. There's a lot of things wrong still, like, this dude's just not correct at all. I didn't draw any feet here, so if you're wondering why, it's because the book literally didn't draw his feet in, and I was doing a reference, and I don't know how to draw feet, so I was just going to leave that blank. The bunny chick, I think, was my favorite to draw, obviously, because this is how it goes. I don't know, this whole part was, like, really rough, and this is all simplified, by the way, because their armor gets really in-depth and crazy with Final Fantasy, and now there's just no shot, so all this stuff's simplified. The tree, I think, was really fun to draw. All these little vines, all these little branches. That was really fun to draw. In order to get this kind of effect, all I did, it was super, super simple. And I frankly figured it out while doing this. I don't really want to mess this up, but pretty much all I did to get that kind of swoosh effect. What I mean by swoosh, I'm talking like the effect. Here, I'll just mark it on it. So you just start with your pen and you just go whoop, 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 whoop. All you're doing is just pressing it down and you just swipe it. So it was pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, because I've never done that before. I never had anything that allows me to do that, and it did it, and it kind of shaded it in without me even trying, so that was pretty neat. Next up, this was afterwards. That was on the 11th through 14th I drew that, so it took me 3 days to draw. Now I'm going back to gesture drawing. Woo! The thing everyone tells you to do, but it's really hard to do because it pisses you off every time we do something wrong. Okay, so up here we got some cylinders. It's still not super... I'm still to this day not super impressed with my three-dimensional drawing capabilities, which is very critical for any of this stuff. So I'm over here drawing this, and I think for the most part, it's not bad, except this. I think these two are like, okay. This one's bad. That goes in the bad category. There's nothing with this that's redeeming. But I didn't give up. I said, time to go on the internet. And with this dude's video, I totally forgot his name. I was able to look up on how to draw hips. Now, these are very anime fan service hips, but I pointed out how to kind of draw things in three-dimensional and how to think of things. So when you do these little lines, it's like mimicking the hips. Now, this guy says to go around and then around. But really, when you're actually just drawing a normal person, you just kind of go down and around, you know? You don't have to pop out the hips is what I'm saying. They're not like their own entity. They're kind of just morphed in half the time. But yeah, that's what I did here. So that was fun. Next page. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Okay, so this is the right way to go. Over here, gesture drawing more. I'll just keep, actually this would be the back page. So I'm flipping around on the back to this conserve pages or whatever. This was again, Mark's channel. I think Mark Barrett. So this is probably the biggest tip I saw, which was on the forearms, you know, you do the triangle at the top, and then for the legs, you do the calf muscle with the kind of mid area. I never heard of that explained that way, but that makes it super simple in my mind. We started to get a little bit better here. This is by far the best one I did on this page. All these other ones are okay to say the least. maybe a little bit worse than that. I'll give myself maybe a little bit of a extra credit there. These ones are worse, so I might have done these first. I don't actually know. So these next ones they start getting into the okay to decent territory. This one's not that great, but this was another like practice run. That one's actually not bad. I like that one. I'm also trying to shade these, by the way, and it just turns out really bad. So this is the first one I drew that I was like, that's not horrible. This one actually isn't bad. I'm not even gonna lie. This one, in comparison to everything I did up to this point, is not bad. That one I was getting a little bit confident on. So we flip over to this page, and I'm starting to draw things a little bit better. So I'm starting to understand there's kind of distances between the breast and the actual like arm. And this one's not horrible. This one's pretty good. I think just by looking at that one's pretty good. And to remind you that each one of these are taking me quite a bit because I'm like stressing out, I really want to get these right. So then I said, all right, I'm going to take every body part within reason and then just focus on that body part essentially. And I did that. So on a few days ago, actually, last week or earlier this week, I should say, I decided that I'm going to learn after watching someone's video. They said you got to make the torso correct before you make the appendages, and I thought about it, and I was like, that kind of makes sense. So I was like, time to draw torsos. So this is from their tutorial. It has a lot of information there that I kind of see why they told you how to do all this stuff, but the more I started to do it, I realized that it's really not 100% necessary to do all this. So for this first page, I kind of drew it all from the front view just to get used to it. And this is already just an insanely significant improvement over the last one. Like, not every one of these is great by any means. Like, this one's really just bad, off proportions. But, like, you get stuff like this that's not super bad. And, like, that's not even, like, horrible. This is not horrible either. And then this one that gets a little bit wonky with the chest. But I'm looking at some of the images, and they're having, like, a bra on. So I have to, like, think through that of how to actually draw these. This one's not bad either. And then, I think this was yesterday, I did this one. And this one I was pretty impressed with, I'm not going to lie. So this is up to date, pretty much, what's happening. So this one, these were actually really fun to draw because you have to actually understand that, like, this is the rib cage, and there's actually like a part of the stomach that approaches out, that goes inward. It actually is easier shown here. Like, this one I drew pretty accurate to what it actually shows. I drew also kind of more three-dimensional spinning around images, including the back. And the back is kind of harder to draw than the front, just because you just don't think of people from the back a lot, This one was the first one I drew of the day, and that one is kind of still a little bit rough. But all these other ones, though, they're pretty solid. And how I did this was from this dude's technique called the bean technique. The easiest way how I can explain it is basically to draw the backbone with a line of action, and you draw like basically a bean shape over it. And I like to draw where the rib cage kind of ends at. You kind of put the dash in, and then you make another dash out to have the hips and the stomach part. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did for that. Like, that one's good, that one's good. These ones are kind of bad in my opinion, but I also did these very fast. I did these when I was also extremely tired too, so that did not help out at all. So earlier today I drew these a little bit, still have to practice on these a little bit, maybe even simplify them. But these are arms. I looked on the references again and just kind of drew some arms. Nothing crazy. Probably should go in there and learn some actual like anatomy on the arms and the muscles and stuff like that to get a better grasp of what's going on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for taking a look. Have a good day.